Hi everybody. This is a coding challenge I received during my interview at Pinterest, and I thought making a video and explaining a little bit my thought process would help somebody somewhere. So, you and your friends are all fans of the hit TV show Throne Words and like to discuss it on social media. Unfortunately, some of your friends don't watch every new episode the minutes it comes out. Out of consideration for them, you would like to obfuscate your status updates as to keep them spoiler free. You settle on a new route cipher, which is a type of transposition cipher, given a message and integers R and C to compute the route encryption of the message. Write out the message row-wise in a grid with R rows and C columns. Then read the message column-wise. You are guaranteed that R times C equals the length of the message. Your task is to write a function that, given a message R and C, return the route encryption of the message. So we have an example right here. We have a message. One does not simply walk into more door, and we have two arguments, row equals 6 and column equals 6. So which means row 6 times 6 equals the length of this message. And this is how the arrow schema should look like. It should have 6 rows, and column wise it is also going to be 6 elements, so 6 rows, and column wise 6 also, 1 column, second column, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and rows it is the same, 6 times 6. So given this message, we should have this output, which means reading column wise, we should find a way to compute the first element of each array. So the first element of the second array, the first element of the third array, or the fourth array, the fifth array, and the sixth array. So we have a second example here with the message, and 5 as row and 3 as column. So, and it should return, this is the schema. The row is 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. And for the column wise, we have 3 columns, 1, 2, 3 columns. So, and the third example is the permuted row and column. So, yes, and this is the output it we should expect. So now, let's get into coding. So first thing first, what I've figured out is that I will have to create a new array. And let's first create my function. And I'm gonna call it encrypt message. And then it takes 3 arguments. We have message. The first one is row, and the second is column. And then in order for me to create 6 arrays out of my message, I'm gonna first convert my message into an array. So let's create an array variable and set it equal to message.split. So this will return an array of the string passed in, and I should figure out a way to create 6 arrays out of this array that I just created. So I'm going to create another array called rows, and I'm going to set it equal to an empty array. So now, after all, I need a results array also, which one have the first element from each array computed in it, and that array is going to be returned as a string to my function value. So I'm going to create a result array and set it equal to an empty string, empty array. So now, first thing first, I have to create my rows. So in order to create my rows, I'm going to loop through row. So I'm going to create a corner I, and I is going to be less than row. And I'm going to increment I as I'm looping through row. So I'm using row in this case because row is an integer. So now what I have is every single time I'm coming to I is less than row, I'm going to create a new array. And in order to do so, I'm going to create another variable and set it equal to an empty array. And that new variable that I just created, I'm going to push I will explain my thought process by doing the code this way. So what I'm basically doing here is to push from the beginning of for the first index of our array to column, and column in this case is going to be an integer, and I want my row to exactly comport to exactly have the number of elements that we passed in column. So let's say in this case, if column is 6, I want exactly my array to have 6 elements in it. And since a splice can allow us to pass 2 arguments, and the first argument is going to be the starting point, and the last argument is going to be the end point. So, and the return value of splice is going to be the element that it splices. So I'm pushing that elements inside my new array. So what I can do now is just push my new array inside my row array. So basically this is just allow me to get, the number passed in row is going to be the number of rows or number of arrays I'm going to get inside my row array. And column, the number passed to column is going to give me, how many, element my array is going to comport. I can't, let's just put it, let's just comment what this is going to do. So in here, I'm going to get an array, and this array is going to be, the length of this array is going to be until column. So let's say if column was 6, it's going to be like 6 element in it. So this is going to be, like from the starting point 0 to the number that we passed to column. And what this is doing, this is going to give me an array of arrays comporting the number of array form that we passed to row. So let's say if we were having like 6 for row, it's going to be 6 in it. So basically this is what this code is doing. Yeah, so this line on line 50 is going to return an array of 6 arrays, a nested array of 6 arrays in it, and each array represents a row, and inside that row is going to have the number that we pass to column. If it is 6, it is going to be 6 elements in that array. If it is 7, it is going to be 7 elements in that array. So, and we can even console log rows and see what we get. So let me call the function just right there. Okay. I have encrypt. So it's not defined. So now, as I was saying, this is our rows, and rows is an array, a nested array of 6 arrays in it. So now, since we have our rows, what we want to do next, let me just clean up and one back again. So what we want to do right now is just to compute the first element of the first array to the second array, to the third array, to the fourth array, to the fifth, and to the sixth. First 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 arrays, so we want to compute those 6 elements, because what we want our string to look like is, we want to read our string, column wise, and column wise means 0, O, E, empty string Y, empty string M. So what I'm going to do is to loop through my column. So I'm going to create let I, a counter starting by 0, and then I'm going to set I less than column. And then I'm going to have I. So now, what this line of this loop is going to set us exactly how many columns we want to create. And those column is going to be based on the column, on the number that we passed the column. So having this, now the next step would be to loop through our rows array and compute the first element of each array to the next array. The first array, first element will be computed to the second element, second array, first element, to the third array, first element, to the fourth array, first element, to the fifth array, first element, and to the sixth array, first element. So now let's do loop let j, and I'm going to start my corner at 0 also, and then set j less than rows that length. And so then I can increment j as I'm looping through rows. So my next step now would be this loop has to be inside. So now, having this, my next step will be to push inside my result array the first, element computed of my, each array to result. So I can do it by doing result that push, and then I can use rows, and rows at the index of j is going to give me this, right? A nested array, right? So then if I do j at the index of 0, it's going to give me the inside array, right? And then, which means I can call that shift on my array. So if I do that shift, which means it is going to shift is deleting the first element of an array, and the first deleted element is return value of shift. So I'm deleting this element and I'm pushing that element inside my result array. So this is what it's going to do for the first array, right here. And for the second array, it's going to also delete and push inside the result array, the first letter E, and the third array, it's going to do the same. It is an empty string. It is going to push an empty string inside the result array, and so on for Y, empty string, and M also. So now, since result is an array. I want to just return a result. I want to return a string for my function should return a string. So what I can do is just return results, and that join in this case will give me a string. And I think my code should be it. So now if I run my code, okay, it looks like we're getting the expected result. So let's have also those three cases, add them, comment it out, and see what would be our result. Let me clean my terminal. So this is the first run code, and this is the expected result, and this is what we are getting. And the second one, this is what we're getting. It is also the expected result. And the third one, it is also the expected result. So yeah, this is it. This, thank you so much, guys, for watching this video, and see you guys next time for another algorithm solving. Thank you.